Hey everybody, welcome to the Drop the Beat podcast. My name is Charles Laurita.
And I'm Will Sarver.
Ooh, that was a big and on there.
I know. I felt your enthusiasm. So
Did you feel it? I was going for
it.
It was like a game show announcer.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Well, thank you guys for joining us for this episode of the Drop the Beat podcast. And I know on behalf of Will and myself, we would really like to thank you guys for listening to us beat off and hopefully beating off along with us at home.
It's the best way to do it. You got to do it together.
It really is. It is a honor, and we're very humbled by it. So if you guys do not know about this show is the music and music topic related show where we discuss in long form any questions or concerns or any of that good musical stuff that you guys send in to us, which you can go to www.charleslaurita.com/podcast and www.charleslaurita.com/contact, where we have a little box you can fill in with all your info and your question, your name, where you're from, and we will answer it in something, like this. And it's going to be really professional and serious and great. Minus
the professional.
Minus all of that, honestly. It's really terrible. Thank you for having low standards and listening to us. So, Will, how have you been hanging out? Because we're still in this quarantine action.
I'm hanging in, man. Keeping busy, Well,
I asked how you were hanging out. You said you're hanging in. I said, how you hanging out?
Oh, no, I'm not hanging out. Just in,
Good. That was a trick question.
I gotta stay safe. So, I'm just doing my thing here and getting some practice time in, that's for sure.
Yeah, same here. I was going to say I'm just getting a lot of time, which is kind of nice. It's a nice switch up. It's funny being outside and there's way too many people outside because now that just no one has anything to do. It's all people who would never be outside, but they are outside because there's just nothing to do.
Yeah, you see a lot of new faces.
Yeah, not that I'm tooting my horn and I did an 11-mile bike ride today, but I did an 11-mile bike ride today, so I'm very happy.
Wow. What an athlete.
It was really cool. Got to keep my boyish figure. Gotta, work the old devil horns, as they say.
That's right. Gotta do it.
The V lines. What are the V lines? Do they have a name? I heard people call them devil horns. You thought I was getting deep with them. I'm like, no, they're the pee-pee pointer lines. That's what I was.
Yeah, they're. Oh, man, I'm thinking of a term. I don't want to say it. I really don't.
Thank you guys so much for joining us on the Drop the Beat podcast. We're so happy that you're with us this week. And hey, actually, finding time to do stuff is great that we actually started with that. Look at you just going. You didn't even know what the question was. But we have a question this week, William.
We do. Is it a good one?
We do. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
They're all good ones so far. This one comes from JC from Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, KC.
Yeah, baby. That's what it is. JC from KC.
JC from KC. I like that.
He's going to hate us because he probably gets that all the time.
Well,
or never. I don't know.
Right. We could be the first. You're welcome.
Yeah, hopefully. Oh, JC, you welcome, bud. But he wrote in something actually pretty interesting, and I like this because I feel like just everyone writing in, we've experienced or we have just some knowledge of it or anything like that. But JC writes in and he says, I have a full-time job and I constantly struggle to make ends meet, but music is my passion and I want to be able to pursue a career gigging and recording. How does one find time to balance working their job and doing music as a serious profession? Thank you guys so much. Loving the show.
Wow.
Well, thank you first off, JC. That was really nice.
I was going to say thank you. Yeah, and that is a great question. And
yeah, how do we balance it? I mean, we kind of got to start from the top and almost do a pro-con thing and weighing it back and forth and what it is you do to make it meet, because this is a heavy one.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both live it right now.
Yeah, well, because it's that whole idea where it's, and I always break it down in two categories. Or not two categories. It's one idea. It's what do you want? Do you want time or do you want money? Because you can't have both. You honestly, at a level, I mean, unless you get to the level where you're a big, massive superstar, then it doesn't matter. Then they're one and the same. But for everyone else in the world, all the Joe Schmoes, what do you want? Time or money? Because you can't have both. And it sucks because they're both kind of a progressive point. Because it's like, you have your music and you have your job and you decide, well, I need money. So you just do your work and you just do your job. Now you have all the money in the world and you can pay for things and this and that, but you have zero time and time passes and you can't do your music career. Or you say, hey, I'm not doing my job. I'm sticking to music because it's what I'm meant to do. And now you have absolutely no money. So now financially you don't grow. You don't have your own place. You don't do any of that kind of stuff. You're just music guy. So it's like, how do you balance it? If there even is a balance, you know?
That's true. Now that I'm thinking about it, is there really a balance? That's the question.
I don't know. It's going to be a short show today.
Yep,
Christ.
that's it. There's no
Thanks,
balance.
JC. That was great.
Take
so
care.
we want to go to the website and I mean, a good balance of it would be something where your job is related to music, in which that case, you know, but a lot of times they don't pay the bills.
True, unless it's you know, a teaching gig of some sort.
Yeah.
You know, and even, you know, like that we've kind of mentioned here before on the show, is the gigging scene is a grind, and you'd be lucky to get gas money sometimes. So it's, you know, that's hard to say that can pay for things.
Unless you're doing the cover band or the tribute band where you're nonstop playing, which then it is one and the same, but it is exactly what you want to do. Old JC here didn't specify, you know, what he said. He wants to gig and he wants to record, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's
I don't know
great.
if it's session recording or what, so that's great. Regardless, I mean that's a great.
Those are my
goal and
faves right there.
Oh hell yeah! But you know, being able to balance that is so tough. Like there's time like I teach, and I like teaching. I like my students and I like what I do. But sometimes I'm just like, ma'am, I'm putting all my time and energy into this, and then, you know, I come home and I need to edit videos or I need to film videos. And this is, you know, like 9:30 at night. Not that that's late by any means. But for some reason, for like sitting and teaching for 8 hours a day, somehow just is exhausting.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I love it. But part of me is also like, man, I really don't want to put my time and energy into this. Because now everything else is just second fiddle. Musical pun intended.
Right.
But, you know, it's a thing. And that's like the whole idea. And I've always said for years where it's, you know, never give yourself a plan B. Because the second you say, oh, here's my plan B, you're just assuming that your plan A is going to fail.
Yeah.
And you're limiting yourself. And you're basically like, oh, so you have no, you know, absolutely like just no pride in yourself. You don't think you're going to be able to do it. So for me, you know, it stinks where it's kind of like, yeah, the music teaching is the main gig right now because it does bring in the money, but it doesn't further my musical career. You know, whether it's these videos or the studio series stuff or writing, recording, gigging, it has nothing to do with that. It's just literally this is how you pay your bills.
Yeah. At least you're. It's still nice to be involved in music in some aspect. That's the nice side.
Yeah.
Of it.
Now, I was going to say, now I don't know what JC's line of work is, but it doesn't sound like it is anything musical. You know, and that's why he's long hours and things like that.
Oh, I know that life very well.
I was gonna say, Will, you take this one away for Mr. JC over there.
Yeah, I mean, it's for years that's what I did, and I don't know how I did it, but I did it somehow. But I mean, they were early mornings. You know, getting up at 5:30.
Ugh.
Go work for a full day, long commute, ends up being a 12-hour day, come home, you know, we'd have a rehearsal, you know, band rehearsal, recording session, whatever. That's at night, and, you know, go to bed late and get up and do it all over again. And I did that for years, and, you know, it's extremely frustrating because, you know, I literally don't have a lot of time to do what I want to do. And if you're in that type of situation, you know, you just have to learn to prioritize your time. And you have to fit in somewhere in your schedule time to play or practice or get that stuff in. And that's my advice in that aspect, because that's what I had to do. Is like I made it a point, you know, at, you know, let's just say 8 p.m. That was my time for music, and do it for an hour as long as you can, you know, just set it in your schedule somewhere. And when funny stories, when I was getting ready to audition for, the Mischief.
Did you make it?
No, I'm still waiting to hear back. It's been like 5 years.
Yeah.
I think it just got lost in the mail.
Yeah, no, it'll get there.
Yeah. But I worked full time at that point in time, and I had less than a week to prepare the material, but I made it, part of my schedule that after work, it was my time until I went to bed to rehearse the material and be prepared for the audition. And that I did that first.
You're dedicated.
Exactly.
That's good. It's a good work ethic.
Yeah, that's the only way. I mean, if you're working a type of job like that, otherwise, maybe look for other avenues or another job that's going to free up your time a little bit.
Yeah. Because I could never, like, power to you for doing it for so many years, but I couldn't do the worker bee kind of thing, where it's just the constant monotony. And I know people who do that for years and years because, it puts bread on the table, so to speak, food on the table. I don't know who's just eating bread, but
that's me. I love bread.
Nice, same. But yeah, I don't know, because I'm the one who still believes in dreams, and feeling like you have a purpose in life to fulfill, or like this manifest destiny that we kind of each think of having. And for me, I could never just kind of secede living just to work for a job, because the big thing I always say is life is so much more than just a paycheck.
Yeah, that is true.
I've been thinking a lot about that, where it'll be like, I need to stop feeling guilty for taking off work, and I need to stop feeling guilty for wanting to pursue what I'm doing, and not worrying about getting paid for whatever, because it's in the long run what's going to pay off more, or what is going to kind of bring you that happiness and fulfillment. Because that's the two big things: happiness and fulfillment. Well, I can't even say it, that's how emotional it is.
Yeah.
But happiness and fulfillment are two completely different things.
Yeah.
And I've worked side jobs and things like that before, and I'm like, I'm getting neither of that from this, so goodbye. And I would just cast it out immediately. Or I would have, little side jobs where it was just monotonous grunt labor, and I was like, they have machines that do this, they train chimps to do this, so it's like, why am I wasting my time doing this for like little pay? It didn't make me happy. It was just a waste of my time. I was always the person who was like, I could be doing better things with my time.
Right.
But I also, for a long, long, long time, had a very, very cynical outlook on day-to-day things, and I kind of had to think a lot more positively about that. But so I don't know, where you are on that. But I had it was not a very positive outlook, but it kind of did motivate me, because I'm always thinking about, we see and hear carpe diem all the time, the seize the day, and you see every dumb kid has a tattoo of it, but yet they're the ones who usually don't seize the day or do anything. As terrible that is to say, all the ones I've known who've had carpe diem tattoos are don't really seize much of anything. But for me, my outlook was always, so as at the time of us recording this, it's May 27th of 2020. There will never be another May 7th or May 27th 2020 ever again. Did I make today count? And that is a horrible, awful outlook, because it just will make you feel bad about everything. Because at that point, I'm thinking about all the stuff and all the shit that I didn't do, which is so it's not great. I mean, I do think about that though. I have my weird, irrational fears of time passing and things like that. Like being in this quarantine is absolutely horrifying, because it's like my worst nightmare. It's time is passing and we can't do anything. We're just kind of stuck here. Yeah, you're just... and life can't go. So that's like a huge, huge fear of mine. Irrational or rational, whichever. But I just really tried hard to stop thinking like that, because it was so self-destructive, because I was just like, I'm never going to be good enough. That's what it always came down to. So then I started thinking, okay, instead of what I didn't do today, what have I done today? When I got up, I'm in good health. That's cool. I have clean water. That's awesome. I fed my animals. They can't do that themselves. I taught some lessons, made some people happy, like stuff like that. Then it helped me get through my day a little bit more, whether I was necessarily doing what I wanted to or what I didn't want to, whether I'm doing the job of my dreams. But then again, I hate job. I would think of career, that kind of thing. So it's like, for me, music teaching is fine. It's a job. It's not a career. It's not the do-all, end-all for me. Yeah. I don't know if you can relate to all that. I mean, I know 5,000% you can because we've talked about it a ton of times.
100%. Yeah. It's.
Well, I said 5,000%, so you just kind of dumbed it down, but that's fine.
Well, yeah,
We're not doing
got to do
okay.
smaller numbers so I can comprehend it. Math's not my strong suit. But yeah,
you're not wearing a suit.
Well, yeah, I'm not even wearing pants. Come on.
Oh God.
But it's really hard to not to get out of that negative rut of thinking about it that way.
Oh, it's awful.
Because it becomes all consuming. But I think if you just start, adding a little bit more of what you want to do, more music, videos, whatever you're trying to pursue, not just music, but if you just start adding a little bit each day, a little bit more, setting little, schedules, reminders, and things like that. I think
that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's going to start to pan out, and you'll kind of figure it out that it'll work for you, and then you'll get this routine of doing it, and then hopefully one day you get really good at it, and the stars align, and next thing you know you're making money, and you're doing it full time.
That's the dream, man.
It's really difficult. I still struggle with it. I don't know if you do or not, but it's.
Oh my God! Yes, of course. I'm human.
Yeah,
we're all human. Usually.
Yeah, usually.
I mean, so like you saying with the schedule and things like that, I even go, I don't know if you do this, I do checklists all the time. Like I'll have either a daily checklist or a weekly checklist. So even if I am spending a day, teaching all my lessons at the music shop or whatever, or now online at home, I'll always have a checklist. And I'll be like, I need to do these things today. So when I see myself checking them off, it's kind of like I have like a physical giant dry erase board with all these things on it. It'll be like a daily one and then like a long-term one or a weekly one. I'll do checklist stuff, and then I'll set deadlines for myself. And that usually makes it a little easier. I work great under pressure like that. Like a lot of times when people on Facebook or Instagram see, I'll say, oh, Mischief's got a new video coming out this Friday, and it'll be Monday. I'll be like, oh shit, I didn't film like anything yet, but I set a goal for myself. I set a deadline. So I'm like, okay, I have a time frame I can get it. Because if I don't, it'll just sit there. Yeah. It'll just be stagnant. So once I have a realistic, like I put it out in stone, and it's like, well, I'm not going to take it down. It's like, okay, I need to like really get to work now. And that for me is great work ethic wise, because I obviously, work very hard with what we do, and you do as well, obviously, which I'm incredibly grateful and thankful for.
You're welcome.
No, thanks. But like, having a realistic goal or a checklist or something like that really, really does help, because then it's like, okay, I actually, have a backbone to this now. I can get things done. So whether I'm doing the job of my dreams or not, I still have all my main stuff that I want to do.
Right.
Because I look at the teaching thing, that's my side gig. I don't look at that as my main thing. That's like that's my money gig, where it's the music stuff is my main gig, where it's like the videos and the recording and writing and all that kind of stuff. This is part of my main gig. Like this is my main plan right here.
Yeah.
Because I mean everything's the plan A. I don't have to do the plan B bullshit, but this is still all the plan A. Like that's everyone always saying to me, like, oh well, you like all the video and editing stuff. Go do the video editing stuff. Don't do the music thing. And it's like, dude, it all ties in. It's like literally everything helping everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all one. That's it. That's it. But as far as
go ahead. No.
Oh, I was gonna say, well, it was that was good. You brought up that kind of scheduling thing, because I know you and I have done that a ton.
Yeah,
with
I was just gonna mention
and studio stuff. Yeah,
yeah. I think more recently it's become really extremely helpful. We're having this day and time we're doing a podcast. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
This day and time we're gonna record and shoot a film. So like each week or whatever, you have a day and a time that you're going to do something, and you're just going to repeat it. So that's extremely helpful, because it's already in your schedule and you're going to do it. And the thing you got to keep in mind is you got to plan ahead. So like when we're, at the time when we were gigging, when we could actually do things outside the house, we're like, oh, we got a show Friday night and Saturday night. Okay, well, make sure you get everything you need to get done before Friday and Saturday. You don't want to be scrambling. It's like if you've got things at home you got to do, you got to study, schoolwork, whatever it is, get it done so you are free to do what you love to do. That's key. You got to prioritize that. That's
a perfect point, because you're making sure everything for your main objective lines up. That's a great point.
Exactly. And even with with going back to the gig stuff is like, even like prepping my gear and getting it ready for the show.
That's progress.
I do it ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
I make sure everything is good to go, so I'm not running around crazy, 2 hours before we got to be there and run into a problem. It's like, figure it all out, get everything in line, and you can enjoy what you're meant to do.
So let's flip it to the other side of the coin. Well, technically we have the one side, the other side, and then the skinny side around the edge, which that's the best possible side, because it will never land on that side.
What do they call that? The rim?
Is it the rim?
I don't know.
The ridge?
The ridge?
I don't know. I'm not a coin collector.
I don't know.
Look at me, for God's sake. I don't have money. I don't even have collecting money. That's people collecting coins. It's like, dude, that's money. People could use that. Stop it. But imagine, we're now in JC's shoes over here, or his flip-flops or sandals, or whatever he happened to be wearing at the time. Hopefully comfy slippers, JC. That'd be the best.
Yeah.
Where, he's struggling to make ends meet. He has to work. He doesn't have a way around that. He can't just kind of be like, I'm going to take a week off and do music stuff. He has to work. So now he has set hours, and that's a big priority. What does one do with something like that? I mean, I don't know his situation, financially or anything. He did say struggling, but it's like, now you have to do that kind of stuff. You have to work, and but still having the passion to want to do music. But really, like, the priority at that point is living and being able to.
Yeah.
And those are really tough shoes to kind of fill and walk around and see. It's like, for me, I'm up nonstop. Like, I'm up till 2-3 in the morning every night, because I have so much to work on, and there's not enough hours in the day, and I'll sleep when I'm dead, and trying to work on all this recording and everything and stuff like that. But then there's people who are up at that time because that's the only time they have, because the whole rest of the day they're just working nonstop, and these dreams and passions are kind of tossed to the side out of necessity, which is such a shame. So what would one even do about something like that, where they have to work nonstop? I mean, what advice would we even offer? Because that's like the one extreme end of it, where it's like, I want to do this music career, I want to do this is my dream, but I need to live.
Yeah, that's
it's extreme, but that's
real.
Some people face that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at that point, it's kind of like, you got to think of it as, the commerce is paying for the art.
That's true.
It's, you got to do what you got to do in order for you to, maybe do music or whatever it is you want to do, at least for the time being. And if finances are a struggle, that's a great opportunity to try and get gigs on the weekend. I mean, go try and join a cover band and go do that on, because that way you're playing, you have a little bit of fun, and you can.
I was going to say, you
money.
at least are paying.
Yeah.
These cover band gigs usually pay great.
Yeah, I mean, at least you're doing music and you're playing with others. Hopefully you're enjoying it, and you're making some money additionally, which will help you financially. And then maybe things get better, and then you can loosen up with work, change work schedule. Something like that. I mean, at least you're trying to do music.
That's the end of the day. That's, I think, the most important thing, where it's like, especially doing the cover band gigs or whatever, you're getting paid. You can just toss that right in the bank and just save it.
Yeah.
That's good side money for a rainy day or whichever kind of day. I mean, I've had people I've known who have done the cover band thing because they're like, oh, I want to have this big career in music. I want to have this big career in music. And working nonstop, family, kids now at this point. And it got to the point where it's now they're, considered too old and they really can't have a career in music and they're kind of stuck just doing the bar scene and things like that and their time has passed. And I think it's such a hard kind of thing to admit and come to terms with. But I also look at it on a completely different way where it's never too late.
That's right.
Ever. It's never, ever too late. So I feel like there's so many people who have that kind of negative mindset where it's like, I'm too old. This is it. Family, kids, those dreams are done. It's like, dude, well, you could do so much still, especially like now in the day and age of the internet. I mean, there are so many people I follow online who are, older than myself and have family and kids, but they're still doing it and they're still able to still craft that dream for themselves. And that's the best part is like you have to realize it's like you can totally do it. Not to sound like a motivational speaker over here, but
no,
you really can. You really can do it if you try. If you're always going to constantly just be like, I have this against me, that against me, all this, in my way, blocking me. It's like that's not a positive mindset because you're always going to put up barriers for yourself like that. So if you're like, oh my God, I can totally do this. I can film myself and record myself and put it up on the internet and people will see it and pass it around and spread it. Who knows what comes from that? But those are great steps in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I think so many people fail to remember that and they'll always think things like age or time or anything like that are such big factors where it's like, dude, you could literally do anything. Even if you have, the impending wall of doom of, debt or struggling to make ends meet or bills and things like that, there's always a way to still be passionate about what you do. Even if it's little baby steps, there's always a way to do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I try to be positive and think about things like that because I've known people who've been in that situation where they're always just like, I'm too old, and they kind of just throw the towel in. Or they're like, oh, I don't have a shot, and they just kind of stop. And I was going to say, you and I both know if we actually threw the towel in on the infinite number of times that we thought we were going to be done or give up, dude, that's a lot of towels, man. That's a big laundry basket.
That is a lot of towels. Yeah. It's really easy to get frustrated. It's really easy to throw it away. But
yeah.
You just constantly come up with a million excuses of why it's never going to work. And it's really great that you mentioned about, keeping it positive and it's never too late to start. I mean,
changes everything. Good mindset.
Yeah. Who said this? I think it was Victor Wooten, actually.
Oh, he says the best things.
He was saying, when's the best time to plant a tree? 25 years ago. Well, what's the second best time? Right now.
I like
it's
that.
The same thing
That's
with
great.
Music. It's like, oh yeah, I should have done it 15 years ago. Well, what's the next best time? Is to do it right now.
Yep.
You and I could name a list of artists that didn't get a break and a hit until they were well beyond their years.
Yeah, in air quotes, past their time.
Yes. I mean, late in life, you never know when it's going to happen, and it just, one song, they just kept at it. They did not give up. They had kids, they've been married 4 times, whatever, and, they kept pursuing it, and all of a sudden it clicked for them, and it worked. So,
and it was probably pretty hard then too. I mean, obviously it's hard now because the market's so oversaturated, but they didn't have the networking angles that we have today with social media and the internet and how easy it is to contact people. Like I was reading a thing about Chuck Berry. He didn't get discovered or his first hit or a record until he was 35.
Yeah, see? Yeah, exactly.
And that's like way past everything,
Oh, yeah.
Or in air quotes, way past everything, because 35 is not old by any means, but older than what the music industry wants it, wants you to be, because they always want younger people and things like that. But I see, people all the time who don't have record deals, who don't have any of that kind of stuff, and they just were persistent and kept at it, and they're doing great. And it's like they don't have managers and they're just doing it themselves.
Right.
And who knows? And, I hear a lot of backgrounds where it's like, people living in cars. where it's like, yeah, there's no way music should have been your priority if you're living in a car or you're homeless or you're couch surfing on someone else's couch every single night. But it's still able to make it work. So I do think even with this idea of, yeah, I need to work as a necessity. I have to do it to live. Because, I mean, you gotta eat. You gotta live somewhere. You gots to. But you want to do music as kind of your higher calling, in which you feel your purpose is, like, that's your true passion. Like, no one wants to do their menial day job. They want to do what makes them happy, and I don't blame them. That's the American dream right there.
It really
dream
is.
You'd like it to be. But you got to remember, the dream is only a dream because you're sleeping. So, I mean, if you're able to wake up and live it, that's even more important. So, I mean, there's always some kind of way in there to balance it, whether it's, like, you had a great point, you're subjugating time and kind of making a schedule and be like, okay, I can do it from here to here. That was a great point. Maybe, for JC, that could be something he could totally do, where it's like, okay, I have this one day on the weekend I can work on my stuff and I can write my stuff or I can record my things and I can work with band guys and things like that. That's a great option right there. So then it's not interfering with you financially trying to be stable. Because, if, like, I tell you all the time, it's like, dude, if I couldn't do music or I had things preventing me to do music, I'd be a very, very unhappy camper, because it's like, this is what I feel like I meant to do. Like, this is all the mixed media stuff that I do, or an art and everything like that all ties in together. That's what I'm supposed to do. And if there was something preventing me from that, I would be very upset.
Exactly. That's why we keep at it. Like we said, we thought about throwing the talent, but we never did, because...
Oh, boys. You know how many times we've just been like, this is pointless, this is dumb. But where would that get you?
Nowhere. And really all it takes is listening to one good track or watching a video on YouTube, and I'm instantly inspired. And and the spark is lit again, and I'm like, all right, I'm really... So now I go play, I go practice, I go listen to more music. All it takes is something like that, and I got it going again. So that's why it's impossible to give up.
See, I like that point a lot, because I'm the same way with inspiration, whether I watch, a film or listen to something or whatever. I think that's a really, really good, useful piece of advice. It's, if you're feeling down and you can't balance things, inspire yourself.
Yeah.
Because then you'll kind of work through those ruts and that plateau. Because that's the worst part with the plateau, is you ain't got no hill to roll down. So once you kind of turn that thing around and you're able to, get motion again and get moving, it's all the difference in the world. We actually feel like, yes, I'm making progress. Yes, I'm doing it. So then that kind of gap and divide where it's, I have to work all the time, because I need to, it kind of goes away.
Yeah.
Because you're now like, oh man, even these little things count, and these little things are progress and are going towards my goal. And then you focus on that. And then, look at your money job. Don't necessarily look at that as a plan A. Just look at it as, that's your money. That's all it is. That's just how you're making your money.
Stepping stone to get you where you need to be.
It is a stepping stone. I mean, it's, being completely honest, I mean, music is like the toughest industry.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's absolutely, I mean, obviously art is tough too and film is tough too, but music is just like an absolute bitch and a half of an industry, because you hear about success stories, you don't hear how 10 times as many like stories where things didn't come together.
There's more of those than the success stories.
Yeah, and you'll never hear about them, sadly, because that's what happens with all this kind of stuff. But but all the people who did, I mean, it's because they were persistent. It's so important to not give up. And I think for a while when I was younger, I looked at it as I wanted instant gratification, instant success. And if I wasn't getting, 1 billion plays on a video or 1,000 views on whatever, or, instant fame, I was like, I'm a failure. This is terrible. And it's like, no, it all comes together. There's all little baby steps that go towards it. Yep. And you can't just win the lottery in one shot. It's just the persistency game is important.
That's everything. Yeah.
Oh, it's 1,000%. I mean, dude, like, how many times have we, whether working on something in the studio or trying to fix something with a video or anything like that, or recording mishaps, how many times have we just been like, why are we doing this? This is fucking stupid. Like,
we said that a lot. I've always said that. I'm like, what is the point? Why am I doing this? Why do I continue to do this?
Like, Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said that today. I was like, something was being stupid, and I was like, to whatever inanimate object, I was like, you have one purpose, and you're not fulfilling it.
Yeah.
I should break you. Like, what?
Right. And then I hop
Oh
on
my
YouTube,
God.
and then I'm instantly back in the game again. You know, it's
I mean,
craziness.
Frustration is tough. I mean, you get in ruts, and it's a buzzkill, and yeah, it's not great.
Yeah,
but it's
important
you
to
know.
create the environment of inspiration. You know, it's you know, yeah. Give Victor Wooten more credit. Sure, why not? But he was talking about creativity. You know, how to become more creative and get out of the rut. It was, you know, he's like, remember the time that you felt, you know, at a point you were creative. You know, he's like, if you create the environment that you're in, then the creativity comes with it. So it's not like, don't think about it as, oh, I gotta be creative right now. It's like, no, go back to the time where you were being creative and create the environment. So it's the same thing with inspiration. I feel is like, create the environment of inspiration. Totally. And for me, it's, you know, going on YouTube, watching somebody else play, watch somebody that is 10 times better than me play, or listen to your favorite track, you know, something like that, favorite album, put it on, whatever, and you're back in the game. And then go practice, go play. And even if, you know, for JC, like, if you're stuck at work, or if you have the ability to listen to music at work, even better. Put on your favorite.
Makes it so much easier.
listen to a podcast, listen to a video, listen to your favorite music, you know, just create the environment. You know, if not, listen to it on the way to work, on the way home from work. Just any chance you can get is just, you know, try and get that inspiration. And then, you know, when you go home, you know, just set a schedule like we talked about before, and you know, go play, go practice. And, you know, like Charles, you mentioned, like the advancement in technology. It's like, it's incredible what you can do with a cell phone. You know,
oh my God,
don't let the equipment be an excuse as why you can't. Oh, I don't have this, I don't have that. It's like, you should see some of the things that come from an iPhone.
Oh,
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, just like, oh, Friday nights are going to be my time to record and shoot a video, and then I'm going to release them once a week, every Monday. Boom.
It's a good schedule.
Good schedule.
I like that.
Do it. You know, get your
keeping you in motion.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
Get your YouTube channel that you've always wanted done. You know, you got videos coming out every Monday. You know, you want to go.
Thing I always say, what do you have to lose?
Nothing. You got nothing to lose.
And I like that you said about inspiration, things like that. Like, for me, I like always being inspired by people who were in like situations. So where it's like people who had nothing, or things taken away, or like every hardship against them. One of my favorites, and I watch it all the time, there's a biopic film about Walt Disney called Walt Before Mickey. And it shows him in the 20s as a young dude, like our age, working with animation studios and putting an animation studio together. It was literally in a barn. Like, it was on a barn on his property that they rented out, and this dirty, just gross. And that's where he made his early films, and he would sell them to movie theaters. And he came from nothing, and then like couldn't keep the studios afloat because they just kept losing money, and everyone was going bankrupt. They couldn't pay his artists. But it's like, you look at some of the stuff that he turned out, it's like, this was made by human hands. That's like ungodly inspiring.
Yeah.
And I think about that with music. I think about that with movies that I watch, where it's like, someone made this. Like, someone actually worked hard and made this. And I feel like so many people cast themselves out because they don't think they can work hard enough. It's like, you totally can. It's like, will you always excel at a medium like someone else will? No, you can't compare yourselves to other people in that way. But you could be the best you can and do a damn good job at it.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important. So whether, you know, it's balancing that work life with the passion life, whether it's, you know, your music or anything like that, there's always a way. It can always be done. It's sky's the limit, and you really can't cast anything out. I think as long as you have the drive to try and not look at things in a negative light, and you're able to be like, you know, instead of being, oh man, I work all week and I don't have time to do music, instead flip that around and be like, I don't work on the weekends. Or I get home from work at 6:00. I got all this time to do music. And you turn it into a positive thing like that, that's going to make literally all the difference. And that's going to just make you more successful than you probably ever had imagined, because you get in that frame of mind, you start chugging and just getting, content out and recording or playing or putting groups together. It's going to change everything.
Absolutely.
That's me from personal experience, because I was an incredibly negative person with those kind of things. Sadly, sometimes I'm more realistic than anything, but I try to be optimistic and positive. And it does really change your productivity.
I think we both share that. We both have
we
similar
too.
feelings towards it, and it's just trying to make it positive, and it's tough.
Yeah, I definitely.
I mean, hey,
but
you got to do what you got to do, and you got that. You're sitting on the couch for an hour, 2 hours watching TV after you come home from work.
Yeah.
Get rid of that. That's a great. That's 2 hours. You could be doing music, doing videos, whatever. You just got to prioritize your time. I know I probably said that 10 times on this, but it is everything. There's no reason for excuses. I mean, when it comes down to it, if you really want to do it, trim the fat.
2 hours is a long time. 2 hours is 8 SpongeBob's.
Wow.
Because if they're split, because each episode was 2.
Right.
And you do, so that's 8 SpongeBob's, man. That's a lot.
Good way to
that's
put
a lot.
it.
If you're measuring time in SpongeBob's.
Yeah. I think it's a standard now.
Yeah, it's metric SpongeBob's and American Standard SpongeBob's.
Right.
The metric ones are a little smaller, but they make more sense because they're all in multiples of 10.
I'm hoping we switch over.
Anyway,
go ahead.
But I digress. Yeah. But JC, I hope we were able to help shed some light on how to kind of make it work with what you've got going on. I mean, I know we both really wish you the best with everything going on, obviously, and just hoping you're able to find that happy medium of balance. And it might not necessarily be a perfectly balanced scale. It might be a teeter-totter. It might kind of go back and forth a little bit, but that's not a bad thing, because, teeter-totters do go one way, but they usually go back, unless there's no one on the other side. But there's always a way. There's always a way to make it come back. But, I mean, in closing, William, what do you have to say for JC here?
JC, man, keep at it. You can't give up. You just gotta create a schedule, prioritize your time, and I think most importantly is you got to stay positive, create the inspiration. Definitely. That will keep the train moving along, and if you just keep at it, keep creating content, practicing, it will all fall in place, and that scale will tend to start. It'll bounce. It'll start to. It may not be this time. It may not be soon, but eventually you'll get there. Like we said, it's never too late to start. You never know when you're gonna get your break and when the stars align. But to get there, you just gotta keep. You gotta keep plugging away at it. Don't give up. Don't throw the towel in. You're meant to do
it.
Very.
Very eloquently put, Will. I think that was a good one. But now we get to do some advertising.
Oh, perfect.
For our own shameless self-promotion. So this has been the Drop the Beat podcast, and I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to us beat off this week. I don't know if any of you guys at home knew. I know Will knows here, or maybe he doesn't. I'll have to refresh his memory. But we are actually on Patreon, and people can support us on Patreon for $1 a month. Were you aware of this in any shape or form?
I heard rumblings of it, and I didn't look further into it. But could you bring me up to speed, maybe?
No, honestly, I'm really tired of it. I mean, I'm really.
I just can't. It's
All right, fine. You asked nicely.
Okay, thank you.
You did ask nice. If you go to charleslaurita.com, we have a big gaudy orange button on our main page for Patreon. Our Patreon is $1 a month, and coming with that, you get your name. If you're one of our patrons, you get your name in the credits of any of our videos that we do. We use our patron support. You get discounts in our merch shops and things like that no one else will have access to, only our patrons. And Will, I don't know if you knew this, but by the time this airs, this episode, we have shirts for the Drop the Beat podcast with our big old logo slapped right on the front of them. I would wear one. If I had money and I was a musician where I made nothing. But we do have shirts now. So if you go to charleslaurita.com, we have a tab that says shop, and it'll take you right to our merch shop where you can get the awesome Drop the Beat shirts that we have up
Shop
there.
till you drop.
Shop the
Shop
beat.
the beat. I think that's it.
Dang.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh my God, that's horrible. We're deleting this whole episode.
Yeah.
That was
Can't
bad.
wait.
Oh my gosh. But if you guys would like to send in a question for us to talk about in this long form format that we kind of do, a long form format, go to charleslaurita.com/contact and you can enter, your name, where you're from, because we'd love to know where you guys are from, and then your question. And we can talk about anything music related or the music industry or anything good like that. We'd love to discuss and just kind of have a good old time. I think we're loving doing this. So with that being said, my name is Charles Laurita.
And I'm Will Sarver.
You said that all sassy, man.
Well, we gotta bring it down low. It's the end, baby.
Oh, my Chevy. Okay. So thank you guys so much for beating off this week. Oh my God, no! Thank you guys for listening to us beat off this week.
Yeah, you sicko.
I'm done. I quit. That's it. Goodbye, everyone. So
Take
long.
care.